Yes, I said I'll be by your side.
Alright guys, we've been cleared. I guess it just got real right now. Joanne, you ready to go have some fun? Alright, my dear, let's go do this.
Wish that I could fly into the sky so very high, just like a dragonfly. I fly above the trees, over the seas, and all the degrees, to anywhere I please. Oh, I want to get away. I want to fly. Let's go and see the stars, the Milky Way, or even Mars, where it could just be ours. Let's fade into the sun, let your spirit fly, we'll be our one, just for a little fun. Oh yeah!
Alright guys, back with it. So we've already reached our cruising altitude. I went ahead and turned your passenger microphones back on halfway. So to give you guys a little history about myself, since you're basically entrusting me with your lives for the next 50 minutes or so. Again, my name was Chris. I was born in Monterey, California, but for the most part I grew up in Southern California. However, I am a product of the military, so I've lived a little bit of everywhere throughout the country, throughout the world for that matter. I too was in the U.S. Army for almost 8 years. I used to fly Blackhawks. So Miss Joanne, I promise, I'm going to take real good care of you this morning. We're going to have a lot of fun. That's enough about me. You guys didn't pay good money to hear my entire life story, so let's just jump right on into it. Down there on the right-hand side, you guys get a nice panoramic view of the town of Lahui, second most populated town we have here on the island of Kauai. Now, the very unique thing about the state of Hawaii, we're the only state in the entire country that has but one city. That is Honolulu. That's the only city that's actually incorporated. Rather than that, everything else throughout the entire state, just a town. And even though Lahui is our second most populated town here on Kauai, it is also our county seat. And what do I mean by that? Well, the police department is down there, the courthouse is down there, City Hall is down there. Most importantly, Costco is right down there in Lahui. I see you guys laughing at me, by the way. Trust me, when you live on a tiny little island like I do, Costco basically becomes like Mecca. We're there virtually every single day of the week. The least expensive grocery store we have here on Kauai, well, as long as you don't mind buying 7 pounds of maize. My wife tells me the only thing now we need on Kauai is a Target, and she will be happy. Funny how all the women always agree with her on that. I told her, I said, baby, look, we got a Kmart, we've got a Walmart. What else do you possibly want? She just rolls her eyes and shakes her head. Apparently not the same. So now when she wants to get her Target fix, what does she do? Well, she jumps on Hawaiian Airlines and flies to Oahu, which inevitably means Chris gets to work overtime to cater to her spinning habits. Ah, the joys of marriage.
Shine on, shine on. Let your light fill up this world till dawn. Shine on.
Right here on the left, my friend Tom is getting a great view of rain. Well, behind the rain, it's actually making out the south shore of Kauai. Towns of Poipu all the way down there along the shoreline, then the town of Kaloa, just to the south of this chocolate milk colored lake. Now the town of Kaloa, a very historic town we have here on Kauai. Happens to be the very first town in the entire state of Hawaii to have a sugar mill. But unfortunately, we no longer commercially grow sugar. Here in the state of Hawaii, it just got a little too expensive to do so. They sent the majority of all the sugar production back to the state of California about 6-7 years ago. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. We barely even scratched the surface. It's going to get infinitely more awesome. So have you guys made your way down there to the South Shore as of yet? Either gone down to Poipu or Kaloa?
We're staying in Kauai, and we went to Kaloa last night to the site of the Silverbill.
Oh, okay, nice. Well then, Angie, you guys are probably familiar with something we call the Tree Tunnel Road.
Yes, we
Right
are.
underneath the aircraft right now as we pass over top of it. It's this long, straight stretch of trees. You look close, you'll see the cars disappear underneath the canopy of trees. It's actually a long, straight stretch of eucalyptus trees planted over 100 years ago. They all grew together. They formed that natural tree tunnel down there. One of the more popular spots here on Kauai for picture taking. And we always know when the tourists are here in town. God bless you guys. For some reason, which none of us have figured out, you guys love to take your rent-a-cars and just stop smack dab in the middle of Tree Tunnel Road. Jump out with those nice fancy cameras, you all start taking photos of everything. I mean, it's cool. I get it.
We didn't do that, though. We actually just videoed as we drove.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, now you're a smart one. Yeah, it's a lot of fun for all of us that live here on Kauai on a permanent basis. So how's everyone doing so far? Nice and comfy? Yeah, no worries? Alright. I did forget to make mention right above your heads, you'll feel the air conditioning vents. Now I have it on low right now. But I can adjust that throughout the flight if need be. And you can also open and close the vents if worse comes worse. You don't like the person sitting next to you pointed at them the entire flight? No worries. Now, Joanne, that does not ring true for the captain. Just putting it out there. Well, out here on the left-hand side, you'll notice all these deep green, dark fields that extend all the way out there to the shoreline. Well, those happen to be all the coffee fields we have here on Kauai, and all of that land is owned by the Kauai Coffee Company. And the Kauai Coffee Company just happens to be the largest coffee company in the entire United States. Now, we're pretty fortunate. Here in Hawaii, we're the only state that commercially grows coffee as well as chocolate. We grow chocolate on the Big Island. We grow it on Oahu. We even grow it right here in Kauai in a little town called Princeville up there on the North Shore. So you think with all the coffee and chocolate we have here in Kauai, all of us would be bouncing off the walls. But you know what? We're pretty mellow, pretty chill people here in Kauai. I'm talking to the other aircraft out there, Chris. Sorry, I didn't want you to think that your headset didn't work. Well, we're going to come down into this valley off the nose of the aircraft called the Hanapepe Valley. There's a very low-budget B movie that was filmed in this valley. I don't think it did very well at the box office. You may have heard of it. It's called Jurassic Park. Virtually everybody on the planet has seen Jurassic Park. Well, if you guys can believe it, Jurassic Park, you realize that movie came out 21 years ago this year? Unreal, right? And I didn't think I could feel any older about myself. Well, I definitely remember when Jurassic Park first came out. My very first job as a teenager in Southern California, I worked at a movie theater. And I was there for opening weekend of Jurassic Park. Did you? See, I knew you were cool. Send it up?
Free popcorn?
Right on. That was a cool job back in the day. Well, I was there for opening week at Park, trust me. It was absolutely miserable. So many people were there to see that movie. Well, if you guys remember the movie, most people do. One of the very first scenes of Jurassic Park, scientists arrive here on our island via helicopter, how appropriate. They descend down in front of this absolutely amazing waterfall that's going to be coming in to be out there on the right. They get to the base of this waterfall, jump into a Jeep, and by the magic of Hollywood, they jump into a Jeep and by the magic of Hollywood, transported 7 miles behind us now to a place called the Rice Ranch in the very next scene of the movie. This waterfall that they descend down in front of in Hawaiian, actually pronounced Manawaiapuna. But that is such a disaster of a word to try and pronounce that we refer to Manawaiapuna simply as Jurassic Park Falls. And here she is. Not to worry, we're going to do a few passes by her, make sure everyone gets a nice shot. So there she is, my friends, Jurassic Park Falls. about 360 feet from the top all the way down to the bottom. And arguably the most famous waterfall we have here on Kauai, simply because of the movie. Now, I've actually had people ask me from time to time, Chris, can you jump off the top of Jurassic Park Falls? I tell them, yeah, once. About that time they figure it out. Oh, alright, you guys seem like you're really cool. So I'll tell you what, I'll take you guys right over top of Jurassic Park Falls.
Me and you and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to
You'll see another set of waterfalls coming into view out there on the right, called Kahili Falls. Basically serves as a tributary down to Jurassic Park Falls.
the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by.
Well, now we're just going to kind of cruise through the Hanapepe Valley. Let you guys get used to the feel of the aircraft underneath you.
You crank up the AC back here?
I can indeed, my dear.
I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them go. They'll learn much more.
There you go, Angie. How's that? Feeling a little better? At least starting to. Yeah, alright.
What a wonderful world.
And Chris, Joanne, I did forget to make mention to you. Chris, you already noticed it. If you guys happen to glance over at me throughout the tour, and you realize you see my mouth going like this, but realize you hear nothing in your headset, yeah, it's not that you're going crazy or, you know, I don't want you to think I'm going mad. I'm just actually out here talking to all these other aircraft.
That's very comforting to hear.
Yeah, didn't want you to think I lost my marbles, Chris, because trust me, those have been gone for a long time, my friend. Then we're going to pull in some climb power. We're going to go check out some of the canyons that we have here on Kauai.
Chris, this is really a smooth ride.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Trying to do my best for you guys. Well, this first canyon we're crossing over top of right now, this is called Olikeli Canyon. Now it's going to be a little hard to imagine, but believe it or not, Olikeli Canyon, this here is the smaller of the two canyons we have on Kauai. Olikeli Canyon basically ends right about where we are now, here on the western edge of the canyon. From here on out, as far as the eye can see, this now becomes a state park. This is called Waimea State Park. Coming into view off the nose of the aircraft, you guys will see Waimea Canyon. The Waimea Canyon, also known as the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. The author Mark Twain was actually the very first person to coin the phrase Grand Canyon of the Pacific. Ironic thing about that, Mark Twain, he never stepped foot here on Kauai. Legend has it he saw a picture of Waimea Canyon that reminded him of the Grand Canyon, named Stuck. So let me be the first to welcome the six of you this morning. This here is Waimea Canyon. And here you go, Tom, as promised.
Oh, yeah.
Into the distance, river of black, stretched to the point of no turning back. Flight of fancy on the windswept field, standing alone, my senses reel. Fate is holding me fast. How can I escape this irresistible grasp? Can I pass from the circling sky? Tongue-tied and twisted, just an earth-listed eye.
Well, here she is, my friends, Waimea Canyon. As you can see, obviously, the larger of the two canyons we have here in Kauai, and just an epic canyon. You'll notice the very unique red sand, red dirt underneath the aircraft kind of adds to the vibrance here of Waimea. While this red sand and red dirt, this is called iron oxide, or more simply put, it is just rust. That's truly all it is. And like with any rust, virtually impossible to get off yourself once you get it on you. Trust me, I get it on everything I own here on Kauai. I get on my cars, my clothes, my shoes, my beard, my kids. I can't figure out how to get it off my kids. So you know what I do? I just leave them that color. Helps them blend in with everyone else here on Kauai anyways. Well, Chris and Christine, the two of you will look at your right hand side right about now. You see a set of waterfalls out there called Waipo'o Falls. And Tom, managed you not to worry, I'm going to put them out your side of the aircraft as well. Didn't want the two of you to think I'd forgotten about you back there.
Across the clouds I see my shadow fly. Out of the calm of my watery eye, I dream unfriended by the morning light. Could blow the soul right through the roof of a night. There's no sensation to compare.
Well, then we're going to pull in some climb power. We're going to go check out, or we're going to cross right over top of Waimea Canyon. We're going to head on out there to the Nepali coast, go check that out, see if we can't get into some fun out there. You guys will notice that small pond down there on the right hand side of the aircraft. Happens to be one of the only freshwater fishing ponds we have here in Kauai. And the name of that pond in Hawaiian, it's called Pualua. That bad boy is stocked with rainbow trout. Now you guys may have noticed that little square thing down there in the middle of the pond. Well, that's the pen to where they harvest the trout. Once the trout get large enough to release them into the pond, allowing people to go fishing for them. Trout season here on Kauai, only about 30 days out of the year, believe it or not. Sometime in between June and July. Now the ironic thing about that pond, which most people that fish there do not know, The name of that pond, Pualua. Well, Pualua is the Hawaiian word for the toilet. So I'm gonna let the 6 of you make your own determination on the quality of that trout coming out of the pond, shall we say? If you guys go out to dinner this evening, you see trout listed on the menu, in my opinion, I'd skip it. I'd pick something else. Not necessarily known for trout here on Kauai. See, they just don't put me here to fly this thing.
Ain't twice as good and can't sustain like one half could. It's one and more.
So now we're going to cross over this last ridge line here at Waimea, right off the nose of the aircraft. I'll take you guys out over the open ocean for just a bit. I'm going to start a nice gentle right-hand turn and introduce you to the world-famous Nepali coast. So here she is, my friends, the Nepali. Now we're gonna have a lot of fun out here. I'm gonna get you guys in a few of these valleys, let you get an up-close personal view of some of these. Now this first valley that we're getting into right off the nose of the aircraft is called the Valley of Honopu. Well, this valley here happens to be the only valley on the entire island that has never been inhabited. And the reason for that? Well, the ancient Polynesians used to use this valley as their burial grounds. Now, they could not figure out how to get into this valley via the shoreline, so you know what they did? It was actually quite impressive. Believe it or not, they built ladders, and they climbed from over top of the ridgelines above us to the right and left, eventually descending all the way down into this valley, and they laid their dead to rest. Even to this day here on Kauai, this valley is incredibly risky. Never see anybody hiking this valley. Purely out of respect for the history that this valley holds, which you know I think in itself is an amazing thing.
The views are absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, they are, huh? I know, it's pretty amazing. It never gets old. You guys will notice that beach out there on the right-hand side. It's called Kauai Beach. You look close, you see some people on that beach, some tents in amongst the tree line. That happens to be one of the only camping beaches we have here on Kauai. And Kauai Beach also marks the end of the incredibly difficult 11-mile Kauai Trail. absolutely wicked hiking trail that we have out here on the Nepali. Starts out there at the northern tip of the Nepali spot called Kauai Beach. Runs for 11 miles one way, all the way down to Kauai Beach. Takes people on average about 7 to 9 hours to do the 11 miles one way. So because it takes people so long, you're actually allowed to camp on that beach, rest and recuperate for up to 72 hours. Until you have to turn right around, hike the exact same 11 miles all the way back to your car. And those that actually make it down to the beach, the campers, well, from time to time, they get pretty witty. The right messages in the sand for all of us tour pilots. Last month, huge letters said, "Bring beer." Beautiful. It must have been from Indiana. You guys had some pretty good beer there in West Lafayette when I was there, I'm not gonna lie. And this valley that we're in right now, the largest valley here on the Nepali, called the Kauai Valley, shares the same name as the trail as well as the beach. And up until about 150 years ago, this valley was home to about 10,000 Polynesians. Now the only people that live in this valley, illegally, mind you, are the hippies. And it's funny because that's how they actually identify themselves. "Hi, I'm a hippie." It's like, you don't say. Well, they live down there amongst the trees. Pretty self-sustained. They kind of grow their own crops, a little bit of everything, if you know what I'm saying. If you guys look closely up there on the right-hand side, just below eye level, you will actually see the Kauai Trail carved into the sides of the cliff. Well, the first 2 miles of the trail, they say are relatively easy. The last 9 miles of the trail, I have heard referred to as death. Yeah, that sounds like a blast, doesn't it? Let's go do that. My daughter, who's 12 years old, she already stands 5 foot. She keeps trying to entice me to bring her out here and hike this trail. I told her, I said, "Baby, Daddy does not love you that much." So much easier for Daddy just to fly the 11 miles in this helicopter as opposed to hiking upwards of 18 hours a round trip on my day off. Are you kidding me? And Tom, my apologies to you on this portion of the tour, but out our side of the aircraft, well, we get a great view of the Pacific. We'll see if I can't remedy that for you here in just a minute. Well, small beach community down there on the right. That is called Kauai Beach. That marks the end of the first 2 miles of the Kauai Trail. You guys will definitely start to see the first 2 miles of the trail out there on the right. That is the portion of the trail that they call the easy portion, relatively speaking. Only real reason they call that the easy portion of the trail is because that part of the trail is so much wider than the rest of the trail. Normally people down there are pretty nice, pretty friendly. They'll stop, they'll wave to the aircraft as we fly by. Back on the difficult portion of the trail, the part that's referred to as death, they'll stop, they'll look at the aircraft. Trust me, they're not waving. They give us other kinds of hand gestures as we fly by. Normally, one particular finger. Tom, as promised, I feel a little guilty, brother, so I'm going to give you one last panoramic view of the entire Nepali before we make our way up there to the North Shore and go play around a bit.
You, sir, a gentleman and a scholar.
I don't know about the scholar part. The gentleman, yeah, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone that agrees with that as well, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Yeah, not too shabby of a view for a Sunday morning. Sometimes I actually forget they pay me money to do this job. Trust me, I've had a lot worse jobs in my time. I have flown in a lot worse places on the planet. Especially Arizona. Wait, what?
that you feel.
And Christine, how you doing? But I feel as though I neglect the person that sits the furthest away from me. Just wanted you to know that I still had love for you. I hadn't forgotten about you back there. Hey, Miss Angie, you doing alright? You doing okay there? Alright, I'm just gonna let you be in your happy spot and leave you alone.
This love is ours. This love is whole. This love is whole.
Did you pick all this music?
Yeah, I do. Each of the pilots come up with their own playlist, and yeah, this one's of mine.
Jack Johnson?
It is indeed Jack. Yeah, we'll have a couple more Jack songs throughout. Jack's a good dude. Chris, do you know he used to be a professional surfer? Yeah, he almost drowned in a surfing accident. He was out surfing with Kelly Slater one day, and almost drowned and scared him half to death. Literally. So he gave it up. He was like, you know what, I think I'll get into music. I think it did, worked out quite well for him. Out there on the right, that is my favorite beach here on the entire island. That is called Tunnels Beach, and you'll see that huge coral reef there to the right as I dip the aircraft ever so gently so Tom can see it. When the wintertime, Tunnels Beach becomes our premier surf spot we have here on Kauai. About 3 months ago, we had 47-foot waves crashing down there on top of Tunnels Reef. Yeah, the professional surfers are out here shredding. And it's pretty impressive because once the wave gets to about 20-25 feet, they're too tall to paddle into. So what do? They get towed in by jet skis. So sick. I don't know who's crazier at that point in time, the jet ski pilot or the surfer. Well, people always inevitably ask me, Chris, do you surf? Yeah, I sure do. Do you surf 47-foot waves? Well, if I did, I probably wouldn't have to fly a helicopter. Out here on the left, Tom's getting a nice view of Honolulu Bay, and then the town of Honolulu, associated with Honolulu Bay. And I really, really enjoy the town of Honolulu. I think it's a fantastic little town we have over here on the North Shore. Has a really good vibe to it. A lot of nice people, few shops, good restaurants, or few pubs. You could literally spend an entire day right down there in Honolulu and just not be wrong. Now you guys may notice all these flat fields kind of submerged in water all throughout the Honolulu Valley. Well, these are taro fields. And if you're unfamiliar with what taro is, well, taro is basically the Polynesian's potato. Now we get a lot of good things from taro. We get these things called taro chips, really thin, multicolored chip, almost like a potato chip. Very tasty. Expensive though. They're like $11 for a bag of taro chips at Costco, but they're so worth it. Then we get this thing called sweet bread, purple in color, equally as tasty. Then we get this thing from taro called poi. Yeah, poi. If you've tried poi, God bless you. If you haven't, don't. I promise you will not like it. Basically what poi is they take the root of taro, mash it up to a baby food type consistency, then they serve it cold, pour it over top of rice, dip their meats into it. The pure definition of nasty. My wife, who's Polynesian, her family's from Tahiti, she loves poi. She tells me, baby, it's an acquired taste. I said, well, you know, Spam might be an acquired taste as well, but I want to know because I don't eat enough of it. So if you've learned nothing else from Chris's tours, just remember, taro chip, purple taro sweet bread, good. Poi, not so good. There's a very ominous looking mountain right here in front of us called Mount Namalokama. There's some exceptionally beautiful waterfalls descending Namalokama, the tallest one. She's called Waioli Falls, and we're going to do a few passes by her, let you guys get some good shots.
like morning in your eyes, but the clock's held 9:15 full hours. Sunrise, sunrise, couldn't tempt us if it tried, 'cause the afternoon's already come and gone. And I said, ooh.
Well, now I'm going to take you guys back into the interior of the island. This ridge line, we're going to make a right-hand turn. We're going to head southbound along something called the Honolulu River Valley. Now keep your eyes peeled to the left and right throughout this valley. You're going to see a plethora of what we call hidden waterfalls all throughout. And I'm actually going to sit back and shut up for a little bit, let you guys just kind of enjoy the beauty of Kauai. But know that I am still here. So if you guys have questions, please by all means fire away. Other than that, I want to be able to afford you guys a few moments to yourselves. We'll talk to you here in just a bit.
Then I said, ooh, 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 to you. Throw its cover down on me again. Ooh, and if I'm right, it's the only way to bring me back. Ooh, ooh. To you.
Alright guys, back with you. So now I'm going to take you guys inside the crater of Mount Waialeale. Now you guys may have heard of Mount Waialeale since you've been here on Kauai, but if you have not, Mount Waialeale, also recognized as the rainiest spot on planet Earth. On average, about 452 inches of rain each and every single year. That's just the average. Record amount of rainfall in 12 calendar months actually happened in 1982, when 694 inches of rain showered down on top of the mountain. Now, could you guys imagine 694 inches of rain where you guys live? You guys would all be underwater. Well, because Mother Nature's being so cooperative this morning, I'm going to get you guys in the very back of the crater, because it's a pretty impressive sight. So allow me to welcome you guys this morning inside the crater of Mount Waialeale. there she was, my friends, on the crater of Hawaiian. Pretty impressive sight. If they'd let me, I'd fly an entire tour right there in the very back. I think it's amazing. Well, as we make our way towards civilization, I'm actually going to make a call to the tower. Let them know we're still out here having a good time. You guys sit back and enjoy the view. I'll be right back with you. Miss Angie, not to worry, we're almost done.
The world waits for you. So small in daddy's arms, and so loved in mama's touch. As you grow, your sisters guide you. Oh, tiare,
Alright guys, we're back with you. So as you can see, we're starting to come back into some of the flat grounds we have here on Kauai. Area of the island that we also call the cattle grounds for obvious reasons, as you'll see shortly. Now this area underneath us was a place called the Rice Ranch on the south side of the island. Two main areas of Kauai to where we raise cattle. And honestly, I never used to talk about the cattle, because let's keep it real, they're just cows. Well, that all changed not too long ago. I had a really sweet lady on board. An older lady. When I mean older, she was in her late 80s. She was a riot. She was actually sitting in your seat, Miss Joanne. Now mind you, throughout the entire flight, the woman had yet to say word one. Well, we get about right here. She kind of perks up. She looks down and she says, "Chris, what kind of animals are those down there?" I thought she was joking, so I played along. I said, "They're bears." Poor thing, bless her heart, she doesn't say a word. We land, she jumps out, walks back into the office. The office manager greets her. Says, "Hey, how was the tour?" She said, "Amazing. I had so much fun." Chris was such a sweetheart. He even showed me the bears. Office manager was like, "What?" So to say the least, later on that afternoon, the boss and I, we have a very spirited conversation. And now I have been instructed to reiterate the fact that, believe it or not, those critters you see underneath us are, in fact, cows. True story, I'll never forget that lady. I can't remember where she was from, but obviously wherever she was from, they don't have cows or bears, because she had no idea what the difference was. Oh, we get all kinds of questions asked of us out here on the tour. You think that one was bad? I'm going to give you guys the better been asked. About a year ago, a gentleman said, "Chris, is the entire island surrounded by water?" Just let the six of you absorb that one. Well, my friends, with all good things, this too must come to an end. Now that may be better news for some as opposed to others. We're going to be on the ground here in just a few minutes. I got to make one last call to tower, give us clearance for landing. I'll be right back with you.
Oh, you guys had a really good, super awesome time.
I'm sorry, go ahead, say that again.
I was just asking if everybody had a super awesome time. I did.
Absolutely fabulous.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, guys. Now I actually have to turn the passenger microphones off right now for landing. Not to worry, as soon as I touch down, I'll turn them right back on. So if you'd like to say goodbye, you're more than welcome to do so. Now when you guys get into the office, we actually have comment cards on the left-hand side. You're more than welcome to leave me a comment about the flight well wishes. You absolutely do not have to. It is not required, but I really appreciate reading what my passengers have to say about my tours, and I read the comments every single evening. Now, Miss Angie, when you want to leave me a negative comment, sweetheart, I completely understand. Just remember, my name was Craig, not Chris. I give Craig a hard time. He's another pilot we have here at Blue Hawaiian. The man also happens to be my father. Poor guy can't figure out why he has so many negative comments written about him. You know what? I'm not going to tell him. So much more fun for me that way. Well, you guys have been fantastic. I really appreciate it. Joanne, Chris, my pleasure in meeting the two of you. See, Joanne, I told you I'd take good care of you. Christine, Eric, very nice in meeting the two of you as well. Safe travels all the way back to Indiana, whenever that may be. And then Angie, Tom, my pleasure meeting the two of you. Angie, my apologies. They kind of got you. I hope that you still enjoyed yourself. Many years of love and happiness for all six of you guys. Again, I really appreciate it. Take care, guys. Cheers. Aloha. Look at that. You made it. Welcome back, guys.
This was awesome.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it, Joanne, Miss O.Ye of Little Faith over there.
You roll, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Great.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.